Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good morning in US and good evening in India. This is Ajay Singh. I just wanted to check if you all can hear me clearly. You could send a text, you can send a chat message. Okay. So again, welcome to this webinar on leadership and creativity in management workshop in India. And I'm very honored to also have Kay Wise, the owner of my parent company in USA, Successful Projects India, also on this call today. And then I have a speaker, Frank Saladis, also on the call today. And I'm very honored to introduce both of them today. And Kay Wise had been working on her company for last 13 years and had been successfully running this business for last 13 years in training, education, and project management and other management activities. And I will have her introduce herself again. And I would also wanted to introduce our speaker, Frank Saladis. And it's an honor to have him today, and also leading this workshop in India in August 9th and 10th. And Frank had been a very successful speaker and very popular speaker around the world. And he's one of the world's renowned project management expert, author, and he has received many PMI's award. He was a PMI Person of the Year in 2006, and he's also a founder of International Project Management Day, and has recently added 2 new books to his long list of popular management titles. And I will ask Kay to introduce him as well. Kay, you want to speak?
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's a joy and honor for me to see Ajay Singh launch his Successful Projects India business, and especially for him to provide his first webinar and workshop with Frank Saladis. I've known Ajay for many years as he was the president of our PMI chapter, and I know he's very dedicated to bringing the highest quality training to India. That's why his collaborating with Frank Saladis is an excellent match. Frank is a true expert on today's topics. He's a leader in our industry. I've had the honor of mentoring under him for 5 years, and he has leadership experience in corporations, in serving as the president of the New York City PMI chapter for over 10 years. He founded and leads the International Project Management Day, plus he leads in his community and in many ways. So I know that there's a lot to be gained from listening to today's webinar and attending the upcoming workshop. So thanks for doing this, Ajay.
You're most welcome. So the first slide here talks about this leadership workshop we are planning to do in India. And this is just a preview of this workshop we are planning to do in India in August 9th and 10th, and I had been in US for last 18 years, and when I started here in US, a lot of these the tools were not available to broadcast this webinar like the way we are doing today, and So, things always change, and I feel the leaders need to, keep finding new ways, new innovative ways how we can do new things. So this is, I think, this webinar we are doing is another way of, finding ways how we can reach out to the world. And this 2-day unique workshop which we are hosting in India is sponsored by PMI North India chapter. So we are collaborating with them in running this workshop. And so we have it's a 2-day workshop, but option of attending one or both days workshop. And it's hosted at Lee Meridian, New Delhi, a 5-star venue, one of the best hotels in India. And we are also working to host this workshop in Mumbai, India, in the mid of August 14, 15. So it's just in case if you miss the Delhi one, you still have an option to do it, option to attend this in Mumbai. And the next slide, Frank, the next slide. So next slide talks about the event information. This is on the PMINorthIndia.org website. You will get more information on this 2 workshops. And the price is very, very cheap. The 2-day workshop of PMI members is $10,499. 2-day workshop general price is $10,999 rupees. And if you register by 7/19, you would get a discount. And 1-day workshop for PMI and I members is $5,749, and 1-day workshop general is $5,999. Again, the deadline is 7/19 if you want to get some discount. And maximum we're getting 16 PDUs for people who want to continue their PMP. But besides the PDU, there are a lot of great benefits you will get out of this workshop, and I will let Frank speak about it. Frank?
Okay, well, thank you very much, and glad everyone decided to attend. It's early here in New York City, just about 20 minutes to 9. I think it might be evening in India, and I'm going to get right into the program. And I was about to make a note, and I'll just send this out, that this webinar will provide you with 1 PDU, and the information will be available at the end of the session. So those of you that are PMPs looking for that additional PDU, it will be there for you at the end of the session today on a slide. Okay? So let me just take care of that, and we'll get started. Okay, so we're going to be talking about leadership slightly in a different way, okay, and what we're going to be talking about is how creativity and leadership come together. The title is Positive Leadership Through Creativity and Innovation, and the first question that comes up to mind for me is about you. How creative do you believe you are? Are you creative in the work that you do, whether you're at home or in the office solving problems? Just how creative are you? And it is that element of creativity that actually makes a big difference in how successful leaders actually manage their organization. So give that some thought. How creative are you? Now, our session objectives, number 1, is to introduce some concepts that will assist in developing more creative and innovative leaders and managers. Now, we're focusing on leaders and managers here, and it is my belief that in today's business environment, which continuously changes, we're challenged by a number of things. And what we have to do here is always come up with new ways to handle these problems and also be ready for the next challenge that we may not actually be aware of. But we have to become ready for these instant pop-up type of challenges. So we need a lot of creativity to come up with the ideas, and then we need the innovation experience, the innovation ability to make those creative ideas actually come to fruition. The second one is to provide a brief overview of techniques that will improve the ability to lead adaptively. When we say lead adaptively, that again goes back to the business environment. I do a lot of training and teaching and consulting in the area of project management, and change is one of those things that we have to deal with all of the time. In whatever business you're in, whatever position you are, whether you're leading a group, if you're managing a team, that you are going to experience change, and we need to be able to adapt quickly to these changes. It's an imperative to business to be adaptive to change. And the third item is to describe tools and techniques that will enhance personal leadership effectiveness. And there are many tools and techniques out there, and part of this particular session is to create an awareness within you about things that you can do to improve your personal your personal leadership effectiveness. How are you going to basically go to the next level? And I'm going to talk about something called advancing to the next level of mastery. Now, when it comes to personal success, especially for the leader and the manager, there are three things that we need to consider. First of all, we have to plan. We have to plan our personal lives. We have to plan our projects. We have to plan how we're going to run the business. Okay? And planning is about setting clear objectives. What is it that we want to do? And we use the term SMART objectives: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. Not only should you have clear objectives set, but you also need to make sure that these objectives are clearly communicated to your teams. The second one is to manage. When we say manage, what we mean is we have to organize our resources. We have to do our scheduling. We have to think about budget. We have to think about priorities. We have to make sure that we've got the things together that we need to actually implement our plan. And then we have to lead. We have to show by example. We have to get people motivated. In order to do that, we have to create value through willing and motivated followers. Now, you have to ask yourself the question, well, how do I do that? How do I get people to be willing to follow me and be motivated? And it all starts with you personally. I like to use a term that I picked up from an author named Tom Peters. And he said that every project that we work on should be a wow project. And he also said that projects are the future of work. So in other words, whatever work that you do, it really doesn't matter that there's probably a project in there. And what you want to do is you want to make it interesting for everyone. So make whatever work you do something that people would be interested in and actually say, wow, what a great thing. Now, this is kind of an important thing. This was a study done by IBM, 1,500 corporate leaders, 60 nations. And the question was, what drives them in managing their companies in today's world? And the interesting thing was that 60% of these leaders had cited creativity as the most important leadership quality. Of course, we have integrity and global thinking, but think about that, being creative. And in many of the classes that I teach and many of the people that I speak to, what I find is that most people don't believe that they are creative at all. And yet here we are saying that it is one of the most important leadership qualities we can have. So what we have to do is, number one, you have to understand that you actually are creative, that we were born to be creative. Our creativity is often suppressed by our work environment and the pressures of daily work and activities and so on, that we don't always think about ideas, and we kind of let that creativity part of us slip way into the back of our brains, and it's time to bring that out forward. Another thing that we need to think about here is the top business strategy is getting closer to the customer. And this is where creativity comes in again. See, we live in a very, very competitive world with tremendous demands. And many businesses, very similar businesses, in terms of what they do, produce their products and so on, are very similar. The only edge that a company will have against its competitors would be how well they work with their customers. And we have to come up with new ideas to keep our customers interested in our own business. Okay, so those are important things to think about as we move forward. Now, One of the things that I think is important is that we need to have what is called a power exchange. All right, and you might be wondering, well, what exactly is a power exchange? Well, it is, as it says here in the definition, a power exchange is the intentional, continuous transfer of information that boosts team member accountability and performance. Continuous transfer of information. Okay, what we have to do here is make sure that the leader and the team, the organization, are constantly sharing information with each other. That sharing of information helps each one of us gain personal value and also add value to an organization. Leaders and managers create high-performing teams by encouraging a collaborative environment where useful information is shared regularly. Useful information, things that people need to know, that should know, so that we can come together as a team to bring our organizations to higher and higher levels of performance and greater levels of overall customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. See, in many organizations, we're always talking about customers. Customers need to be satisfied and so on. Well, if we don't have satisfied employees, we will definitely not have satisfied customers. So let's create that power exchange in the organization that you belong to. Now, when it comes to leading with power, now these are some important things to think about. The first one, information is the primary power source for successful leaders. Many of you have probably heard knowledge is power. How do we get knowledge? Well, we have to go research it. We have to gather it from other people. We collectively network and things like that. But information is what we need. It's the source of tremendous power that makes leaders successful. Now, the second item, a leader's job is to create and sustain high levels of value through other people. Exactly. The leaders, the truly effective leader, does not physically do all this work. What we have is to motivate other people to do this work, whatever the work that has to be, and make them feel good about it. Okay? Value through other people. Now, in order for that to be accomplished, the people need to feel that they are valuable also, that they are important, that they're valuable, that they are producing something that's very useful, and therefore giving them this sense of personal value. The third one is a leader's power alone yields no results until it's exchanged with the team. Leaders can't do anything without a team, and teams need a strong leader. So what we are going to do is continuously exchange this information back and forth continuously, which helps to keep people to buy into the project, to stay motivated with the work that has to be done, and to feel a sense of loyalty with the organization. Now, here's something I would like you to take a minute to do. There are 7 questions here, and I would like you to take a minute, if you have the time and the spot, to make a few notes, to just maybe jot down some answers to these questions. And I'll read each question, but I want you to think about an answer. Okay, the first one, to do all aspects of my leadership duties well, I need to improve. So if you are a leader, if you are a manager, you need to improve. What would that one item be that you need to improve? Okay? To do all aspects of my leadership duties well, I need to improve. What is it? I need to improve my communication skills. I need to improve my listening skills, my presentation skills. What is it? Number 2, if I were better at, I would excel relative to my peers. Now, I want to explain something here. This is not about peer competition. What this is about what you would do or should be doing that you can excel, that would make you what I refer to as a go-to person in your organization. This would be some particular talent that you have, something that you really truly excel in, that people are going to seek you out, okay? And that makes you what I feel to be somewhat indispensable to an organization. So find that thing that you can do that you should excel at. Number 3, if I improved what? I would resolve an ongoing problem. Maybe it is conflict resolution that we should be improving our ability to handle. Maybe we're not listening the way we should. Maybe we're not looking at the big picture. Whatever it is, if I improve this item, I could certainly resolve an ongoing problem. Think about what that is and make a note to yourself. Number 4, feedback from several sources indicate I should improve. Now, if you are not getting feedback from your peers, your subordinates, your managers, and so on, then that would be something you would want to do. It's important for you to get information occasionally so that you can make adjustments in your own personal development plan. You can't really make adjustments without obtaining feedback. If you are getting feedback, think about that feedback and what is it that you need to improve. Maybe there's one particular area. Maybe you're tardy for meetings. Maybe you don't contribute enough to meetings or something like that. But the item here is to find out what that item is and then take the steps to improve it. In the future, my organization will need more people who are effective at what? Maybe it's leadership. Maybe it's being more creative. Whatever it is, think about your organization and what your organization will need going forward to stay sustainable, okay, to remain sustainable in the business world. Number 6, to advance to the next level of leadership within my organization, I should learn more about. Think about your own personal aspirations. What is it that you want to do a year from now or 2 years or 3 years from now? Are you seeking a next level leadership position? In order to do that, what should you focus on? Do you know all the different aspects of your business? Do you understand the financial side of your business, the operations side, the maintenance side, new product development side, whatever it is? Start to learn more about that. You need to improve your business acumen. Maybe that's the solution. And number 7, the reasons why I should continue my personal development include, okay, we are all of us, all the time, should be on a trek for personal development, learning new things. I've attended a number of sessions based on a master's class in project management or actually a master's class in leadership. And one of the things that was explained to me by a professor was that we should make everyone a teacher. So start thinking about your own personal development. Think about the peers and the other people that you work with. What are they teaching you? What are you learning on the job each day that basically is indicating that you need to improve something, that you need to continue your personal development? So these are, I think, excellent questions, something that you should be thinking about, and it will help you to plan your future and to achieve any of those aspirations and those goals that you have set for yourself. Now, this is something I think is kind of interesting. This survey was done about a year ago or so, but I thought it was very interesting. And although that we're talking about leaders and managers, this is focused on project managers, but project managers are leaders and managers also. And this is the relative importance of each of the following criteria to IT executives. And this is important. IT executives have identified these 15 items as really critical criteria when hiring a project manager. Now, I want you to look at the list, and there were 15 items there, and just think to yourself, what would be the number 1 item, the number 1 list? Okay, and once you thought about that number 1 item, then think about number 2 and 3. And then from there, I'm going to show you what the actual results were. Okay, and I'm just going to do a quick audio check. Jay or Kay, are we okay in terms of audio?
Yes, we are.
Great. Okay, so anyway, now thinking about this slide here, let me just show you what number 1 on the list was. Number 1 was leadership. IT executives, when hiring project managers, focus on leadership as the number 1 criteria, followed by number 2, the ability to deal with ambiguity and uncertainty. Number 3, verbal skills. Number 4, written skills. Number 5, attitude. Remember I mentioned attitude earlier in terms of, you have to be someone to inspire your people, your teams, your organization. create wow work to be done. And attitude is really a part of that. And number 6, ability to communicate at multiple levels. We need the ability to talk to not only executives, but to our peers, to subordinates, to our customers. Basically, all of these items here, if you notice, are not technical skills. You'll notice that technical expertise came in at number 11 on the list. And that's kind of interesting that almost all of these top skills here are what we call soft skills, which is really very interesting from an IT executive perspective. So I want you to think about that, if we're going to step into a new job, especially an IT job, that the primary concern is about soft skills, and leadership definitely falls into that area of soft skills. Now, what we have in today's business, and this is going to go on for some time, the current trends in business are flexibility. We need to be very adaptive to a very, very volatile business environment. We have to be able to come up with new products and services and basically change our products and services to meet new needs. And the reason for that is that customers, although they like to remain loyal to their organizations that provide them with products, customers are, what we use the term, very fickle, and they're easily swayed by other things, especially things that look more appealing or have a few more options and so on. So we have to be very, very flexible to the changing needs of our environment. Aesthetic flair. Not only do we have to have products and services that work great, but they have to really look great. They have to be very attractive to the customers, to our client base. We also have to manage costs. The energy costs are rising. So in many cases, we have issues with resources, a number of different things. So cost effectiveness is absolutely part of our priorities in terms of business. Long-term value. Today, with money the way it is and everybody watching every dollar, whatever is purchased by an organization, by a client, by a customer, they want to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do, that it's available, that it functions properly, that it's safe, and it's going to last a long time. They want to see that kind of value so they can experience that value over and over and over again. And of course, there is intense competition which is driving innovation. Now, businesses in every country around the world are dealing with this continuous change of technology. Technology improves just about every single day. And with that, the competition to deal with our customers, to provide what they're looking for, becomes even more and more intense, which drives us to come up with new ways, innovative ways to produce, not only to produce products, but to make sure that we can sustain those products for our entire market base, and also to find new ways to increase our market base. So creativity is becoming the new business currency. I believe the more creative your organization is, the more successful you will be in your business environment. Now we're going to take a look at a few things. We're going to look at vision, imagination, creativity, and innovation. And we'll take them in that order. And I want you to think about that, okay? What is your own personal vision for yourself 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now? Do you know what your company or your organization's vision is? When it comes to imagination, do you take some time occasionally to just daydream a little bit and kind of think about the way things could be, or dream about a new product that you could possibly be developing? Do we use our imagination enough? Creativity. Are you able to take an idea and build on it to make it something truly useful? And then innovate, to use techniques to take that creative idea and actually bring it to reality. Those are the things that we're going to talk about, and all these items, vision, imagination, creativity, and innovation, are all part of what I see as a truly effective leader. Now, vision. Let's think about vision for a minute. Leadership success always starts with a vision, and that's from Forbes magazine. If you think about it, in any large organization, Fortune 500 companies and so on, they all have some vision. We need some kind of view of what the future could be. The vision, at least my definition of vision, is it's a future desired state. It's where we would like to be. And it should be a fantastic place. And we have to think about that. Secondly, we need to set realistic and demanding goals. We used to call them stretch objectives. But the idea here is that we have to do something that people can believe will actually is possible. But they should also be somewhat challenging. They're not going to be easy. Okay, we need to be able to take some risks and get things done and have people feel a sense of accomplishment when things get done. And then once these goals have been set, we have to continue to pursue them relentlessly. We have the focus, we've got the vision, we've got the tools, the people. Let's make sure that we get this done, and let's not falter. Okay? So pursue them relentlessly. It's very important to stay persistent. Even in the face of adversity and challenges, we want to make sure that we are going to achieve that vision, that desired future state. Now, imagination. Imagination is something that many people think they really don't have, or we don't use it. But imagination, if you think about it, I kind of like to think about, some of you might be familiar with Walt Disney World or Disneyland. And that place is filled with imagination. And they have people they call Imagineers. And what they do is they think of these new and wonderful things that would bring more people to come to see their facilities. So think about your own personal imagination. It's the creative power of the mind, the ability to visualize, to see something that maybe doesn't exist yet, and you can formulate this idea in your head and basically come up with some great thing that you can accomplish. Use your imagination. Sometimes it's actually okay to become a child again for a little while, because children have no problem with their imagination. They can do amazing things with very simple things like boxes and crayons and little bits of paint and some tape and things like that. You know, they're very, very creative when they're allowed to use these tools in an open setting. I like this quote from Albert Einstein. He said, "I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world." Now, I just want you to kind of think about it, your own imagination. You know, here's something that I'd like you to do. I do a program entitled, well, it's actually called the Creative and Innovative Project Manager. And one of the things that I do is I ask the people in the workshop to draw me a picture of the perfect project manager. Now, for you, it might be to draw the picture of the perfect manager. You know, use your imagination. You know, what would the perfect manager look like? Would it be, you know, kind of an interesting thing here would be that sometimes people will show a person has multiple arms and multiple heads and lots of eyes and lots of ears because they need to be in all different places doing a number of different things all at the same time. What would your vision be of the perfect manager or the perfect leader? Kind of use your imagination and think about that, okay? Because I think it would be kind of interesting to see what those qualities would look like if we could visualize them. Now, imagination will shape the future, and there are amazing buildings and structures being created all around the world that are based on someone's imagination, and we take this imagination and we turn it into reality through leadership, through management, through project management, through team building, through motivation. To create this sense of enthusiasm and excitement about the things that we do. Leadership builds on imagination. The truly effective leader takes the ideas and the imagination of his or her team and makes amazing things happen. That's what leadership is. Think about your imagination and how do you encourage the imagination of the people that you work with or work for, or that work for you. Now, here's something I thought was kind of interesting. China builds a 15-story hotel in 6 days. And when they say 6 days, they mean on the 6th day, people were able to check in and actually spend time living in that hotel. Somebody had to imagine that, and they put together with a plan. They put some leadership together. They pulled the right resources, the right people. They managed the project. They got things done. And it was all about this vision. okay, a 15-story hotel in 6 days. Pretty amazing stuff. So you can see that we can accomplish an awful lot if we set our minds to it. The Olympics. Think about the imagination and creativity that went into the opening ceremony of the last Olympics. Okay, if you really think about it, this is a truly amazing feat of leadership, teamwork, imagination, creativity, innovation, enthusiasm, excitement, and just plain fun. Think about that. I mean, if you think about your project as being all of those, especially fun, enjoyable, then you can see some amazing things occur on your project teams. Now, what is creativity? Many people tell me that they are not creative. Well, I have to tell you that all of us are creative. We were born creative. What happens is, as I said before, life gets in the way sometimes and suppresses our ability to be creative, and we need to resurrect that once in a while. Now, creativity is the ability to produce something new through imaginative skill, whether it's a new solution to a problem, a new method or device, or a new artistic object or form. We generally associate creativity with artists, people who paint pictures, draw pictures, make sculptures, things like that. But all of us can do that. We can create new things. We want to use our imaginative skill. And I'm going to focus on the area whether a new solution to a problem. We as managers and leaders will be faced with problems pretty much on a daily basis. And we're going to have to be somewhat creative in handling and resolving these problems, especially since most organizations are facing challenges like shortages of resources, not having enough time, multiple projects going on, things like that. Creativity is also about having a new and useful idea. And the important thing to remember about this is that usefulness is usually defined not by the person who had the idea, but by other people, many times the customer. So this is important. If you have an idea, you might think it is the greatest thing, but you are going to be biased to that idea. So what you'll need to do is whatever the idea is, you have to share it with other people and be able to withstand their criticism, because I guarantee you many new ideas will be faced with criticism. But through that criticism, you will be able to modify and improve whatever that product or service is, and eventually you're going to produce something truly, truly unique. And that's what creativity is about. Okay? It is a part of a methodology, believe it or not. I kind of use a term called controlled creativity. We can't just have idea just flowing. We have to have some way of assessing ideas so that we actually can pick the best ideas from many. And that's what this is. Usefulness is usually defined not by the person who had the idea, but by other people, mainly the customer. Now, creativity and leadership. This is important. When it comes to creativity, I am not suggesting that every leader has to be the creative artist in the organization. What I believe is that the leader has to create an environment where creativity can flourish. It says creative people often immerse themselves in their technology, and many haven't adapted the social skills to influence people. We get too deeply involved in our technology and whatever it is that we're doing, and we are unable to actually transmit, to communicate our ideas and our visions to other people. We seem to have suppressed our social skills in favor of those technical skills. So what we do need, in many cases, these people that are very creative need a champion, someone who is going to take their idea and take it to the next level, and that's where the leader comes in. The leader establishes an environment for creativity and has the courage to challenge the status quo more than to be personal and creative. It's telling us here that you don't have to be the person coming up with all the ideas. What you need to do is recognize a good idea and get people to want to come up with new ideas. Have people launch 1,000 ideas, and if you get 10 good ideas, you're going to be way ahead of the game. Just keep encouraging people to come up with these ideas and become the champion for their creativity. That's an important part of being a leader. Now, in this next slide here, we talk about dimensions of organizational creativity. What you have to do is think about your own personal organization. You know, how creative is it? You know, what are the kinds of things that are going on in your particular company? The creative begins with the letter C, communicating, exchanging information effectively. But that is also a very common trait of the effective leader. Responsibility, willingness to contribute to solving problems. What we want to do here in any organization is encourage people to step up to solve a problem, even if it isn't their job, and even especially if they didn't cause it. Okay, the goal here is to solve problems together. Step up the responsibility. The next one, E, enthusiasm, visible energy and passion. You as the leader, you as the manager, if you are not displaying this visible energy and passion, this desire to get things done, why would anyone else want to display it? So enthusiasm begins with you as the leader and manager. Attitude. I've been recently engaged in several LinkedIn discussions, and I have to say that negative attitude is definitely what we would refer to here in the U.S. as a downer. Okay, if all we do is complain about how things are not going to change and we have so many problems and we're not going to be able to fix things and people don't care, well then we're not going to get anywhere. Leaders, managers, get things done through a positive outlook. Just imagine your team looking at you if you were sad, miserable, unhappy every single day because you believe that nothing can get done. Okay, establish a positive outlook. Teamwork, willingness to work collaboratively. What we have to do is, and begins with the leader and the manager, that we have to encourage teamwork. In any organization, you are in it together. Forget about silos and small pockets of work. You have to come together. The only way a system can work in your organizations or systems is if every part of the system is working together the way it's supposed to work. That's what teamwork is. And then empowerment, we have to show trust and support other people, give people an idea to step forward, take some risks, and occasionally the leader will allow people to fail. I mean, it is actually part of growing. I'm not suggesting that we go out and ask people to fail. What I'm suggesting is that they're going to fail occasionally and use the failing, whatever it was that they failed at, as an opportunity for learning. Okay, and so that's an important part of being a leader. So establish that trusting and supportive environment. Now, I like this particular slide for a number of reasons because it will help you gauge what kind of an organization you work for. If you look at your organizational creativity and your individual creativity, what we need to have is a good balance here. If your organizational creativity is low and your individual creativity is low, there will be few innovations. This is an organization that will become static. It won't move forward. It will become at risk. If you're an organization where organizational creativity is high, but individual creativity is low or suppressed, what you will have is a very systematic and continuous development, but it could be very, very slow, okay? And you may not be able to catch up with your competitors. If you're an organization is low in organizational creativity but high in individual creativity, you won't have many innovations, and what you'll have is you'll be encouraging people to kind of go off and do their own things and come up with some very, very wild, crazy, and radical ideas which may not be that helpful to your organization or to your brand. So the goal here is to get this balance of organizational creativity and individual creativity to create a very successful organization where the organizations are working together, management, leaders, and employees, to create this successful, continuous path forward, always coming up with new and great ideas. If you think about Apple, Apple is an organization that has a balance of organizational creativity and individual creativity. Google is another company, and these organizations continue to show success time after time after time. Why? Great balance in creativity. Now, here's something I'd like you to do, and this is something called a Torrance test of creativity. What I have here is a picture of an egg carton, and if you could use your chat box, I would like you to think about, and I'm not going to give you exactly 3 minutes in here, but how many things can you think of to use an egg carton for? So how many uses for an egg carton can you think of? If you use your chat box, just share some of that information in the chat box. I'd really like to get some ideas. So I'm going to, while I'm continuing with my presentation, think of what else can you do with an egg carton besides put eggs in it. And we'll test your creativity right there. And then I can give you some suggestions on about how to improve your personal creativity. So share some ideas. Put some ideas up on the chat box. Now, as you're doing that, the question is, you might be asking, well, why bother being creative? And, well, to tell you the truth, because change is going to happen, whether you like it or not. We know that people don't really like change, that change is resisted by many people, but it's going to happen anyway. So what we need to do is we need to create a change-ready organization. There are going to be challenges out there. And if we are not ready to handle the challenges with creative and innovative techniques, then we will not be able to overcome those challenges, and as an organization, we could fail. Growth. If we want to grow, we got to come up with new ideas. One of my favorite books, written several years ago, entitled "What Got You Here Won't Get You There," is telling us that we have to continue to learn new things. We have to grow in our knowledge and use that knowledge to create new products and new services and expand our business. And the bottom line basically happens to be survival. If we are not creative, if we are not positive with our leadership, then we're not going to survive as an organization. Okay. Now I'm going to just check on one thing here. Kay, have you seen any responses come on the chat box?
Actually, there were
suggestions about the egg carton?
Yes, we've gotten some responses. Some of the answers were egg box, kids projects, models, storage box. So we've gotten some good answers. Additional ones are an orange box, lemon box, small juice box. They're still coming in. They're posting, Frank, to the questions panel, which is where you can read them.
Okay, I'm unable to see the panel right now, Kay, for some reason, so that's why I'm asking you, okay?
Yep.
But again, what you're doing here is you're using your creativity to look at things from a completely different perspective. Okay, the egg box is one. There are multiple ways in which you can improve your creativity. A book that you might be interested in will help you to improve your creative mind is called What a Great Idea 2.0. And the author's name is Chick Thompson. And this book is just packed with different ways to help you and your organization become more creative in solving problems. So, give yourselves the opportunity to improve your creativity by doing simple things like looking at something completely differently. Take it apart in your mind, put it back together a different way. And you'll notice that your mind will begin to expand, and you'll use that right side of your brain, which many of us seem to kind of let go to be more logical. So occasionally, let's not be logical. Let's be a little bit more creative and get a little wild occasionally. Okay? We need creativity to solve problems that we do not yet know. There will be a new problem tomorrow. If we're ready for it, I use a quote also from Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur said, "Chance favors the prepared mind." The best way to prepare is to be ready for change. The best way to be ready for change is to build up your creativity so that you can handle these new changes and these new challenges as they come in. Now, here are some thoughts on leadership. And these are things that you have to think about, and you personally may be able to classify yourself as one of these types of styles. Okay? Visionary, creative thinking, brainstorming, intuitive, based actions on opinions, fast-paced environments, emotional discussions. In other words, visionary people are very, very passionate and like to move forward very quickly. The achiever. Some leaders are very, very results-driven. They see very few situations or challenges that can be resolved, that can't be resolved. Okay, view situations as challenges to be resolved. Everything is a situation, everything is a challenge, and we can resolve them. We also want things done quickly. We have high expectations. And you know what? The achiever really is not interested in a lot of speculation. They just want to get things done. which means that maybe the achiever suppresses a little bit of creativity there, but the visionary focuses heavily on creativity. The facilitator, okay, person-oriented, encouraging, assisting other people. Let's take our time. Let's make sure that we've got all the pieces together. In some organizations, the fast-paced environment might actually not be suitable for the facilitator type of style. And then we have the analyzer. We have the systematic, very formal approach. We facts and figures and KPIs, key performance indicators, and things like that. We're very business-like, reserved. We don't like carelessness, and we don't like people being too aggressive. What we like to do is take the time to do things. Now, these leadership styles, if I just back up, visionary, achiever, facilitator, and analyzer, okay, each one has its place, but I'm suggesting that the truly effective leader is actually each one of these, is a visionary, is an achiever, is a facilitator, and an analyzer, and knows when to employ each of these values. This balanced leadership is really the key. Now, this particular chart here comes from the Hermann Brain Dimensions instrument, and what you have to do here is think about, where do you fit in terms of your style? Okay, are you the rational type of person in the A quadrant? You analyze, you quantify, you're highly critical, you know about things. In other words, a very, very logical, analytical type of person. Now, if you're the B type, the safekeeping type, you're the person who's going to be very careful about things. You're going to plan things out very, very detailed. You're going to get things done. You're an extremely reliable individual. You're very timely, and you really insist on getting plans done. If you're in the C quadrant, you're very sensitive. You're very emotional. You are kind of a people type of person, very sensitive. And the D quadrant, you are the risk taker. You're the imaginative person. You're the very creative individual. Now, if you think about these different quadrants, the reason I have this up here is that because if you feel that you're mainly a rational type, an A type of person, think about how that person would work with a person who breaks the rules, speculates, takes a lot of risks, likes to be very playful. You can see that there could be some issues there, and maybe even some conflicts. But a rational person might work extremely well with the quadrant B safekeeping person. The rational person is logical, and the safekeeping person gets things done very reliable and organized. So you can see some congruence there. The emotional person, the feeling self, quadrant C, imagine them working with the A or B type. Okay. Now the important thing here is that none of us are exactly 100% in any one of these quadrants. We have a little bit of each in us. But what we need to understand is that if we are the rational type of person, we will be dealing with people in some cases that are going to be experimental, and we need to develop the tolerance to work with them and to take their ideas into consideration, and not just to simply look at things through one color or one quadrant. Very important to consider as a leader. Now, innovation. When we have innovator wisdom, according to Leonardo da Vinci, there were three classes of people. Those who see when they are shown, and those who don't see. Okay, now those who see when they are shown, they need direction. And those who don't see are probably not interested. And what we want to do is we want to become innovators. We want to be able to see the future, but we want to go well beyond that. We want to be innovators. We not only see the current environment, but we go way beyond that and see the future and create the extraordinary. That's what innovators do. They kind of see the way things could be or should be and work to get there, not just simply focus on what exists now, but to look into the future. Okay, so innovation is certainly a key part of being an effective leader and a manager. Now, how do we unleash creativity? Well, it's not that difficult. If you're a manager, if you're in a leadership position, reward creativity. Say thank you and give them some kind of a tangible or intangible reward, recognition, a thank you of some sort, but take the suggestions and try to do something with them. In some cases, People have what they think are great ideas, but really are sometimes very shy or afraid to offer these ideas. So give them an avenue to go to a small group, or maybe just you particularly, and maybe you can champion the idea and give them the credit when it comes to fruition. Create innovation teams. Basically get people to come up with ideas. Google, for instance, as a company, I think they give their people 20% of their work time. They expect them to work in other areas and come up with new ideas on how to do things. So create innovation by creating innovative teams. Be open-minded. One of the things that I have found in many management styles and leadership styles is this constant, well, that won't work here, or no, that's not really going to work for us, or we don't do that here, or we've done that before, or that won't work. Let's stop doing that. Let's be more open-minded. Let's let people generate ideas and see if we can encourage them to come up with ideas that can truly, truly work. The world is changing. We have lots and lots of diverse teams. The more diverse your team is, the more interesting the ideas will come because of the different backgrounds and knowledge, customs, and experience that people have. And then, of course, there's the positive work environment. Find a way to make the environment that you're in fun, or at least enjoyable, so that people can feel comfortable about it and actually look forward to come to work. The positive work environment is great for the organization's brand recognition. It's for your own personal brand recognition, and it really helps people to become more and more involved and loyal to your organization. Now, to bring this all together, all of these different thoughts, okay, number one, let's talk about positive leadership. There are 7 capacities, okay? Be authentic, be credible, be confident, be consistent. Very important. Don't be changing your mind every other day. Purpose. Let's make sure that we have that vision, that purpose, that direction, and that we are driven and that people can see that we are driven. That sponsorship. We will make sure that people understand those things that are the priority in our organization. That we are going to have disappointments and issues, and we're going to come back from that. The greatest leaders always bounce back. They actually look at a disappointment as an opportunity to find a better way to do things. Okay? Community building. Community building basically is you working with your organization, getting them to be more and more comfortable, to provide new ideas, some different thoughts, to be willing to step up to new challenges and so on. Very important. And then, of course, what we need is reason. Let's make sure that we are doing the things that make the most sense, that the decisions that we make are seen as correct and wise, that we look for opportunities, we minimize the threats to our organization, and to gratitude. Gratitude is important. Say thank you occasionally. Appreciate contributions. Even if you don't use an idea, simply say thank you anyway, and let's try it again. Right? Those are important things that we all need to consider. So those are the qualities, the capacities of leadership. And then we have the creative community leader. The creative leader shows credibility. Okay, we say we're going to do something and we do it. We have some tolerance from ambiguity because we're not going to always know the answers, and we're going to have to allow for a little bit of speculation occasionally before we can come in with something solid. That we should be flexible. That sometimes we're going to be very authoritative. We'll be facilitators. There will be achievers and so on. But be flexible and use that balance. Always be an effective communicator. The more effective you are as a communicator, the greater respect you'll have for your people, the greater and more transparent the organization will be, and the more new ideas will basically become available. And the creativity awareness, what we want to do here is make sure that you as a leader are creating the environment where people are going to give new ideas, constantly new ideas. That the more freedom you give people in terms of creativity, the more interested they are in coming up with solutions, the more they will be more interested and inspired to become leaders themselves. And you want to create that environment for innovation. Now, for you, last few thoughts here. To plan for positive leadership, what you need is a personal plan. The first part of the personal plan is to make sure that you can lead yourself, that you understand your own personal goals, that you can manage your own time and your own priorities. Once you can do that, you go to the next step, which is leading people, which is basically small teams, conducting meetings effectively, establishing objectives, communicating information, presentations, and things like that. Then from there, leading small groups and teams, going to the next level, projects, purpose, objectives, getting things done for your organization. How do you do that? It's different than simply leading one or two people, but leading a group is to create a way to get them to become focused and high-performing as a cohesive unit. And then the next step is leading organizations where you're dealing with strategic decisions, moving an organization forward, understanding 2, 3, 4 years out, making sure that your teams, your people, your organization is motivated to move forward and to create new products and services and to sustain the business. Okay, implementing your plan, make sure that you spend time every single day working on your personal development. Always be an opportunist and an optimist. People tend to focus on those folks rather than the pessimists. Always be proactive. Don't wait for something to happen. Make something happen. Build on your creativity. Take intelligent risks. We call them risks that have a reasonable chance of success. Occasionally we're going to fail, so use that as a learning opportunity. Always read about leadership. There are so many articles and books about leadership. I even have a book out on leadership. It's called Positive Leadership in Project Management. And the idea here is find ways to improve your leadership capability by expanding your knowledge and new tools and techniques. Connect with other leaders, see what they do, especially people that you believe are very, very effective. Get yourself a mentor. We can all use a mentor. A mentor is not a coach. A mentor helps you reason through things. Doesn't necessarily provide you with the answers. And the last one here is go beyond competency. Continue to advance to the next level of mastery. If you're competent at something, go to the next level and become an expert. Become an expert at leadership. Become an expert at management. My quote at the bottom is a very important quote. Shoot for the moon. If you don't get there, at least you will be among the stars. Those are important things to think about. So I hope that you got something valuable out of our webinar today. And the final thoughts are just some quotes. Well-led, self-managed project teams produce monuments of their successes. A leader's job is to look into the future and to see the organization not as it is, but as it can become, and change. Expect it, harness it, and lead it. And don't forget, I created International Project Management Day. It happens to be the 7th of November in 2013. It is the first Thursday of November every year. You can get more information about International Project Management Day at www.internationalprojectmanagementday.org or internationalpmday.org. And thank you, and I'll take a look and see if there's any questions, Kay or Jay. Any questions that I can address at this particular time?
There's no direct questions, and due to time, we might not do it. We've had some good comments on the characteristics of good leaders, which we can potentially post with the recording when we do it. Ajay, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, so Frank, if you can spend like a couple of minutes when you are there in India, what people will see the value there in India when they are actually in the workshop day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The workshop, for those of you that are interested, the workshop is a very, very interactive workshop where we're combining exercises associated with developing your leadership capabilities, but also with your ability to be more creative. Hands-on exercises, networking exercises, working with people, and also it's very, very interactive and lots of exchange of information. In other words, as I said in the very beginning of the program, it will be a real power exchange, a sharing of a tremendous amount of knowledge back and forth with the attendees and myself. And together, we will, all of us, myself included, will emerge from those sessions as even better leaders and more capable managers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank. This is really awesome. And we have 22 people who are here today, lucky people who saw your presentation. And I think it's India will be very lucky to have you in August. If you could click that link to the event info. Yeah, click on that link on the top. It will go to the website. Yeah. So, what Frank mentioned, the real thing. This was just a preview. The real thing will be happening on August 9th and 10th, where he will be, spending more time with you. And so this website provides more information about this workshop, two-day workshop. And there's a link to register now link where you could register right below that 1 and 2. There's a box there, register now. And what, along with, people who are here today, 22 people, I think, first of all, thank you to you guys all to be here. I think along with you, ask people in your team, ask leaders in your organization, your manager, your sponsor of the project. A lot of people are there who are not on the call, not on the webinar today, but go out, reach out to them, and tell them what this workshop is happening in India. Because my goal is to, along with the best speakers in India, I'm looking around the world to bring in one of the best speakers from all part of the world to come to India, share their experience, share their knowledge, and make you all a successful leader and the better managers. This is just the start. This is just the first time. It's a great honor to have Frank coming to India and share his experience. And this is the first time ever we are doing this. And let's go back to the slide, Frank, for a minute. Yeah. So the slide provides you the information about a registration process and the price. And this, the price is very, very cheap, because if we had done this two-day workshop in US, we would have charged like $1,000 for this two-day workshop. And 1,000 equates to like 60,000 rupees. And this is, very cheap. People travel all the way to different countries, to US, to hear Frank's speech. And the workshop, as he said, is interactive, is hands-on, so you will learn. This 10,000, the value it will bring to you and your other people who are going to join is tremendous. So consider registering today, and if I would, suggest you do register for both the events, two-day events. But just in case due to some conflicts or something, at least join for one day. So again, I think this is a great opportunity. We all should not miss, not just like you, 22 people, but I think pass this information to many other peers, many other people, your organization, your leaders, managers. I think this is one of the best thing ever happening in India. Any other comments or questions?
I have the PDU information posted, and anyone that's interested. Kay, is this going to be posted on the International PM website?
Yes, we'll post it there. We'll also post it inside of the Successful Projects India webpage. So we also can send an email to the attendees as to where this recording is available.
Right. And I just sent my email address, the company's email address. So if you have any questions after this webinar, please send an email to me. And also just a note that if you have 10 or more people, if you would like to register with 10 or more people, there will be some discounts on that as well. So please do reach out to this email address, and or you could email out to the PMI North India email ID, which is on the website as well. Again, thank you very much, Frank. Kay had been awesome today and moderating this webinar. And thank you all for joining. Any other last-minute comments?
Well, this webinar, we're going to repeat this webinar again in case you have colleagues that might be interested in hearing about it. I would say that I don't ever do the same information twice, so even though the basic concept and most of the material will be the same, there will be some differences in it. In case you want to get another PDU, there will be different information shared. I always like to keep things updated and fresh. So I would suggest that you pass the information on to people in your organizations and colleagues and maybe other PMI members that we do have another webinar coming up. What's the date for that webinar, Jay?
It's a Friday, July 26th at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. IST.
We also had another request to confirm the PDU information, so that I think there's 2 PDU points of information. One is the one for today's webinar, which is on the screen right now, and then the information about the PDUs available for attending the workshop is that the 2-day workshop is good for 16 PDUs. Is that correct, Ajay?
Right, that is right. Yep.
Thank you.
And 1-day workshop is 8 PDUs. Thank you so much. And any other last-minute comment?
There are lots of positive comments via the postings, and so they're especially appreciative to Frank for his good content and good presentation, and hopefully we'll have some people who will be interested in learning more on this at the workshops.
Right. Yeah. So Frank will be there. I will also be there in India. So we hope to meet you all, and thank you again. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you can end the call.